Welcome! My name is Kelly Anderson, and this is Fanimated, an animation fan podcast where we get a chance to geek out about our favorite animated media. Today is the last day of our September anniversary celebration, so take note that we will be going back to our once-a-week episode schedule. Thank you to everyone for all the support, and I hope you enjoyed all the extra content this month. If you missed out on the anniversary live stream, you can still watch the whole thing on the Fanimated YouTube channel. Now, today Emma Martin is back with me to discuss one of our favorite shojo anime, Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. This 2014 slice-of-life comedic anime follows a group of high school students as they juggle their real teenage romance drama with their secret production of one of the most popular rom-com shojo manga of their time. So spoiler warning for Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, and let's get started and let's get animated. Emma, how are you doing today?
I am fabulous. It's so good to see you as always.
As always. I would expect nothing less. Always fabulous over there. Fabulous. Da, 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 da.
That is,
You're
yes,
fabulous.
that is my theme song right there.
Oh, man. Well, I'm so excited to talk about Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun with you.
Me too. Oh, this is like an Emma anime right here.
Yes, this is your go-to rom-com slice of life comedy Emma show. And you recommended this to me and I watched it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It kind of ended up being my little fun thing that I'd watch. I wasn't expecting to do a podcast episode on it, and so I felt like I could just enjoy it for what it was. And then I ended up loving it so much that we got to talk about it.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I mean, I was literally just browsing on Netflix because they've upped their anime game. And it was in a time where I was just like, man, I just really need something lighthearted. Because a lot of the other anime I was watching was pretty deep. And so I was like, let's try this out. This sounds fun. And then, I fell in love with it. And it's super short, so it's an easy watch.
Yes, I would highly, highly recommend this show for people who are new to anime, because this is a short watch. It's only 12 episodes. It's all on Netflix, and it's just a comedy, fun, enjoyable story and character. The characters make this show. It's just absolutely fantastic and fun. And so it's not a huge time commitment, and you can just jump in and enjoy it and have a good laugh.
Oh, totally. 100%. I mean, I, in every episode, was laughing out loud, not just smirking to myself. I was laughing out loud so many times. It's just so funny.
It is. Oh my goodness. And I just recently rewatched the first episode to kind of get in the mood for talking about it. And if you don't laugh out loud in the first 2 minutes, there's a short scene before the intro starts in the first episode, that is enough to tell you, that this show is going to be great.
True.
So it really just hits the ground running, and it is just a ball of fun after that. So if you don't know, Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun follows Chiyo, a young, high-spirited high school student who is very cute and spunky and wears these little ribbons in her hair. She's adorable. And she has this crush on Nozaki, the tall, dark, handsome.
The quiet type.
The quiet type, yes. And so the show starts out, she goes to confess her feelings for him and ask him on a date. But instead of saying any of those things, she just blurts out, "I'm your fan." And to her surprise, he returns back with, "Oh, that's great. Here's an autograph." And the autograph is for none other but the author of a popular shojo romantic manga. So
Yes.
So Chiyo finds out that Nozaki is secretly the author and illustrator of the shojo manga Let's Fall in Love. And in order to be closer to him and get to know him more, she agrees to go back to his place where he asks her to help draw the manga. So she fills in the beta, which is all of the black spaces in the already drawn manga. And so she ends up helping him with that and coming to learn all about the other people who help him with the manga. And it's just this collision of all these crazy, extreme, fun character personalities, and all in the midst of this setting of Chiyo trying to get through Nozaki's thick skull that she likes him.
And in the meantime, they all have their own crushes as well.
Absolutely. So let's just go through each character, shall we?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, let's start with Chiyo Sakura, our main girl, and she, like I said, is just cute. She's got red hair. She's very high-spirited, and she tries so hard to get Nozaki's attention, and Nozaki is just oblivious to everything. Even though you'd think he'd be a little more understanding of like the crush thing because, you know, he writes a romance manga, you know?
Right. But yet he knows nothing about real relationships.
Nothing. And so everything they do, like Chiyo is always thinking romantically, like, oh my goodness, he wants to like ride a bicycle with me. And then he's just like doing research for his manga. So
to see how she reacts. That's so great.
It's so
I love
good.
Chiyo. She's the cutest little redhead ever. And I love her ribbons as well. I should cosplay her sometime.
Oh my goodness. That would be perfect. Please do. Aw.
But what I love about Chiyo is actually really all the characters are like this. They're all very oblivious in some way. It's different for each one. But yeah, for Chiyo, she misinterprets everything. Like she thinks, oh, he's going to do something romantic. And then like it turns out it's a different scheme. And like Nozaki is not trying to be malicious in that. He just is so thick. Like it's just like, oh, I wonder how she would react this way. Ooh, I should put that in my story. Like
Yes. Oh my goodness. He's so thick. He doesn't understand at all. So let's just go into Nozaki. I'm going to pronounce his first name wrong. Umetaro Nozaki is, like we said, this tall. He's like the tallest guy in that school, I bet.
Yes, he is very tall.
He's very serious. He is like, always thinking about the manga. It really is a wonder how he can be such this accomplished romance manga artist because he does not understand romance in the slightest, it seems.
Nope.
And it's so great. And he's just like so like narrow focused, and I mean he's really nice, and he, you know, has lots of good friends, and you know he's like a good guy. He's just doesn't understand romance at all.
Man, Nozaki, what a guy. I mean, like he's just like so serious about his work, and it's kind of funny to like see his background appear a little bit because I mean he used to be the lead star on the basketball team, and you're like, I would not picture that at all because of his personality, but it's mainly because he's tall. But he just, he's oblivious to so much even though he writes romance. I think about like there were so many moments throughout the show where it was just awkward because he was just like, well, let's try this or let's try this. Like some of the things he does are weird. Like he's definitely willing to put himself out there. Like I think about, okay, so one of my favorite moments is when they're with Mikoshiba, and we'll talk about him in a little bit, but they're trying to prepare him for a mixer. So they're like going on a fake date with him. And so like Nozaki just goes full out. He like pretends to be a girl in multiple different ways, like different personalities. But he says it's so monotone. He's like, hello, Mikoshiba. How are you today? I don't like that. Like, just straight monotone voice, but he's still so committed.
Yes.
Or like yeah, in that moment, he would be like, Chio, let's go to the bathroom. And then they would go to the bathroom and pretend to have like ladies talk or whatever.
Yes.
And just be like, so what do you think? And she's like, well, we just said hi, so there's not much to interpret yet.
He takes everything so seriously, and it's
seriously.
adorable.
It's so funny. I love it. Yes. Or like when he tries to help out with the school play because one of their roles is missing. He is just like, I think I would do better if I were in costume. And then he gets put in this teddy bear costume because it's the only one that fits him.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh no, I am slain.
It's so funny.
He's so willing to put himself out there, but I love it.
Oh, I love it. Like, yeah, he's willing to just go and do it, but maybe not always in the right ways. Another part of his personality that shines through is his relationship with his editor.
Yes, Ken.
Oh man, this poor editor has to deal with Nozaki. Like Nozaki like is asking questions all the time and like showing things, and Nozaki just wants his editor to think that, you know, he's the best. Like, he wants to have good rapport with him, and like so like one of the gags is that Nozaki is cleaning up his apartment really, really nice. And Chio is like, is a girl coming over? Like, why is he cleaning up so nice? And Nozaki's just like, no, my editor's coming. He like has a man crush on his editor.
Yes, he adores his editor, which his editor is so like, if you think like Nozaki is serious, Ken is like even more serious. He's just like very straightforward, no nonsense kind of guy. And so like, he's just like, yeah, my editor, he like, if I text him, he texts me back in like 2 minutes. Like, look at how fast his communication is, et cetera, et cetera. And then like when Ken finally comes over to the apartment, he's just like, oh, can I make you some tea? Make yourself comfortable. And Ken's just like, no, I just need the script. Okay, goodbye.
He's just there to pick it up and leave.
And then when Ken leaves, he's just like, isn't my editor amazing? And Chio's just like,
Sure. Oh, I love that relationship so much.
He praises him so much.
So much. He has so many good things to say about him. And he just like works so hard. It's so cute.
And then he sends Ken like so much crazy dramatic ideas. And then Ken's just like, oh, why do I have to deal with this high schooler?
Yes. Ken has to rein him in a little.
He is the subtext of all the adults.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, it's so great. So let's move on to Nozaki's best friend, the very suave Mikoshiba. Mikoshiba, thank you. Mikoshiba. And he is just a riot, isn't he?
Oh, girl, Mikoshiba is my favorite. Also, fun fact, did you know, okay, listeners, me and Kelly love Haikyuu. Okay, you know Kageyama, the crazy setter?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Mikoshiba.
What?
I know!
Oh my goodness, I didn't know.
Isn't that crazy?
That is so insane.
Because totally opposite characters.
Yes. What?
Yes. So that's Kageyama right there. Mikoshiba is my favorite because, okay, he's this super suave, charming redhead. And when he's around the ladies, he really talks a big game. But then, like, after he's, like, said his super suave text, like, 5 seconds later, he'll be in a corner and be like, oh my gosh, that was so embarrassing. Why did I say that?
Yes, he's, like, super popular with the ladies, but then he's secretly super shy and embarrassed about it.
Yes. So he can't, like, even though he can talk to girls, he can't talk to girls, which, like, makes no sense. Like, he can only talk to girls with this dreamy facade, but, like, not as a normal person.
Yeah, not as his true, real self. It's so funny.
He's also constantly fishing for compliments. Like when Shio is first introduced into their little group of manga artistry, like their little group work, he like he's like, don't expect to get any help from me when like he first meets her, but then he'll like stare at her the whole time or walk past, and and Nozaki is just like, he wants you to ask him for help, and she's just like, oh, Mikoshiba, could you help me with this? He's like, please, I'd be happy to. So like, he's always fishing for compliments and for help. Like he wants to be wanted.
He wants
so
affirmation
cute.
so bad.
Yes.
And it's so funny. If they want to get him to do anything, they just compliment him. And it's so funny.
Right. And that's how they get him to do a lot of things. Like, okay, so in going back to the scene with the play when they're trying to fill the role, when they realize that Nozaki can't act to save his life, they're like, who could be easily persuaded in a very short amount of time, and who can be super dramatic and like romantic? And then like the next scene, Mikoshiba is there.
Yes.
And finally, after a lot of motivation, they get him to do the part. But then the next day, he's like hiding in the corner of a classroom, and Nozaki's just like, yeah, when it comes to Mikoshiba, this is a daily thing. You have to remind him each day and pep him up each day in order for him to get back to that spot.
Yeah, he starts at 0 again, and then you gotta work him up.
Right, you gotta work him up every day.
Oh, so funny.
He's so cute, though. I love him. And, I mean, I don't know. I totally, like, ship, Nozaki and Chio, but I would also consider Mikoshiba and Chio for their relationship.
Interesting.
Yes.
I think that would be cute, too. I mean, Mikoshiba is the only one in this show that doesn't end up with someone.
Yeah. It's okay.
So that's a possibility.
Yes.
And also because, of course, most of Nozaki's friends help him with the manga, Mikoshiba is the one that does all the fine little details of like the flowers and the little background things that make everything like have like a certain aesthetic.
Mm-hmm. All the sparkles.
Yeah, the sparkles and the big circly like shiny things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely hilarious. He's very, very happy with his work, usually.
Which is funny because he can't draw anything else to save his life, but he can do these super beautiful details to make the atmosphere look good.
Exactly. It's so funny. I love it. So there's Mikoshiba. Let's go to
Hori.
Hori, great. Yeah, let's jump to Hori. Masayuki Hori is the president of the drama club, and his role on the manga team is drawing backgrounds, because none of them can draw backgrounds except Hori. Like they all try to draw backgrounds and they can't. It looks terrible.
They just can't.
And in exchange for doing this background work, Nozaki will write scripts for the drama club. And Hori is a great actor, but he's
so short.
He's so short. I love it.
I do too.
And so he can't be the leading man. And so he like directs and builds sets and really enjoys doing those things too. So, and Hori is one of my favorite characters in this show. Me
too. He's like the most mature out of the whole group.
Yes, he is though.
So it keeps the group together, and like it's just funny to watch like how he is so like much the leader of the group, even if he is like seen as the shorter one, so like he's like smaller, quote unquote, but no, he is the adult in the room.
He's always the adult in the room, no matter the scenario. And this will kind of bleed in to talking about Kashima.
Yes.
But he like keeps her in line, and like he kind of has like a short temper, especially when Kashima is concerned. And it's so great.
Yes, because he is the vice president of the drama club and she is the president of the drama club. But she's a handful, so he's always keeping her in line.
Exactly. And so talking about both of them kind of together, Yu Kashima is the star of the drama club, like, and what I love is that she is like the prince of the school. Like a lot of these manga and anime will have like a prince of the school character who's basically like Yuki from Fruits Basket, like the charming, popular with the ladies, kind of popular person. And in this instance, it's a girl, and she like totally takes it in stride, and like all the girls want to hang out with her, and she always plays the leading male role in the plays because she's so suave.
And tall.
And that's what I love too, is that she has the biggest crush on Hori. And so she's super tall and he's super short. And let me just say, we need more tall girls and short guy representation.
Yeah, I think it's so cute.
Yes. As a tall girl, I just, I enjoy it.
Yeah. I love Kashima. She's so dramatic, and yeah, it's so funny like watching this show because the prince is usually played by a guy because he's like suave with the ladies and like everybody wants to be his girlfriend kind of thing.
Yeah.
But in this case, the prince of the school is a girl, and she's still like super suave with the ladies, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're so romantic, I want to hang out with you. And you're like, whoa, like what's going on here? But yet she has all the while, no matter her flowery words, so to speak, she still is so devoted to Hori and wants him to like be happy. And I mean, because what's kind of vicious about this anime is that Hori like beats her up all the time, and it's because like she's always like late to rehearsal, and so he's like, Kashima, like gotta keep you in line. So, but she loves that relationship, and she's kind of lost without him sometimes.
Truly, like this is my favorite couple of the whole show. Kashima and Hori, because she's always off doing things and being popular and whatever. And then Hori comes in and probably has a little bit of jealousy of like, Kashima's with me.
Yes, this is definitely the classic love-hate relationship.
Yes.
Where Hori is just like, oh, I hate her, she gets on my nerves so much, but like that like that's the only girl he wants to be around still, nonetheless. And and like I said, everybody's oblivious in some way in the show. And for Kashima, she is oblivious in the way that she misinterprets situations about Hori. So like, for example, she sees Hori and Nozaki looking through a manga one day, like the Let's Fall in Love. And she's like, oh my gosh, what's in that manga that's like compelling them so much? And then she like tries to figure out what does Hori want? Oh, maybe Hori wants to be swept off his feet like a princess, and I'm supposed to be the prince. And like she gets like all these misinterpretations screwed up. And then Hori's just like overwhelmed of like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Yes. Like Kashima lets her imagination run wild, where Hori is a very like realistic person, and so Kashima's like, maybe he wants this or that, and she'll do some crazy thing, and Hori's just like, what are you doing? Like
Yes. Like, because Kashima thought for the longest time that like Hori wanted to be the heroine of the story, and he wanted to be treated like a princess, she would like send him a piece of an outfit every day at school with a lovely note, and he would just get angrier and angrier and be like, well, it's a well-coordinated outfit, but why are you doing this to me?
It's well-coordinated.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was one of my favorite moments. He's like, and yeah, it was really well-coordinated. Like, like he was so angry, and then he like gave her a compliment.
Oh man, it's so great. I love those two. Their dynamic is like my favorite. Oh man, any scene with them is absolutely gold. I love it.
Yes. I also love how like in the play when Hori steps in to fill in for the role, like he can't do it because apparently the chemistry isn't there.
Oh no.
But I think the reality is that there's so much tension on the stage when they're doing the fight scene that they're like, no, we probably shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
They're too perfect.
They're too perfect for each other.
Yes.
Love it. I love it.
The other person who's part of the manga artistry group is Wakamatsu.
Yes. Hirotaka
And-
Wakamatsu.
Yes. He's so cute. He's a first year, and he is your typical freshman.
Oh, he's so, yes.
He's like, so like, oh, I'm so happy, and I don't really know what I'm doing.
Like very naive
Yeah.
and just cute and adorable.
He's just very cute. And like, he's a basketball player, and that's how he knows this other character, Seo, who we'll talk about. But anyway, he basically comes into the manga group accidentally just because he's friends with Nozaki from the basketball team. And but he ends up having this hidden talent to be able to do
Screen tones.
screen tones. Yes. So like there was a day when Nozaki was sick in bed, and so Chiyo and Hori are like, okay, we have to get his work done because there's a deadline. And both of them were like, can you do screen tones? No. Can you? No. And so they're like, we can't let the first year know that we can't do this.
Yes.
And then he's just like, oh wow, like Wakamatsu like is super good at it, and they're like, oh yeah, we give all the beginners that work.
Yeah.
Just covering their butts. It's so funny.
It's so great. And again, as that like freshman character, he's like totally believes it and is just like, oh, okay.
Right.
And so he does this really great screen tone work. And the screen tones are like there's an overlay of like texture in the comic, like for like the clothing or like changing different grayscale tones basically and textures like you'd see in a comic.
Right.
And he cuts them out in accordance with the illustration and then lays them over that. So very cool.
Now, a bigger part of what he's known for, though, is his love for Lorelai.
Yes.
So he has passed by the Glee Club a couple times and heard this beautiful voice from what the Glee Club calls as their Lorelai. But he first hears her song because he's dealing with insomnia, and then Nozaki plays one of Lorelai's songs, and it makes him fall asleep. And then he just falls in love with this voice.
And the ironic part of it is that the reason why he's an insomniac is because he is continuously terrorized and harassed by none other than Lorelai herself, Yuzuki Seo.
Yes. Seo is crazy. She's such a wild child, very rambunctious girl. She is just like very adventurous and constantly causing trouble. Like teachers are always chasing her. And she's absolutely vicious. Like, so they use her on the basketball team to practice against having vicious opponents. So like, she's not even really on the team. She's just there to help the team.
Right. And she's oblivious in the way of like social interactions, and she's so blunt and straightforward. Like, she doesn't mean to be rude most of the time, but she just is, because that's just the way she is and the way she interacts with people. And so and she will go full throttle on everything, and she's not gonna pretend to be something she's not. So she's very, very athletic, very tomboy-esque, and doesn't try to hide it.
Nope. She's the kind of girl who, when she goes to see an emotional movie, she's going to be laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, Wakamatsu is constantly being terrorized by Seo on the basketball court. That's another like love-hate relationship. He's just like, so he's got insomnia. Then he hears her voice, but he doesn't know it's her. And then he's in love with this character of Lorelai.
Yes.
But doesn't realize it's the same person. Meanwhile, he's trying to like confront her to tell her, hey, Like, cut it out. Stop picking on us. You're going too far. So he takes advice from a manga, which is like, no, don't do that. Like, that's just dramatized romance. Like,
yeah.
And so he like writes her this cute note that's like, meet me on the top of the rooftop after school. Like,
as if it's a love letter, but
right.
He keeps doing all these things that he's intending to be like harassing her back, but they end up being interpreted as like he has a crush on her.
Yes. So like when they're on top of the school building, he's just like, I assume you know why I came here. And she's like, yeah, you got the hots for me, don't you?
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Oh no. It's so funny. And then it just keeps happening and they end up going on like a full-on date and everything.
Yes.
And he's none the wiser. He's so oblivious.
Yes, and even though she drags him around all the time now, like you can tell he likes her company cuz like the very last episode of the show is they're at this summer festival. Mm-hmm. And he sees Seo walking around with Kashima, who's like dressed up, but she dresses like a guy, or more masculine, I should say. But so he's like, oh, she's with another guy. Like, is she doing this to make me jealous? And so you can like tell that obviously he has a crush on her.
Yeah, and Seo loves teasing him and hanging out with him too. Like, it's mutual and it's great.
Yes. Just for the viewers, it's crazy. You're like, what?
It's so funny. I love them so much. I think it's hilarious. And of course, we didn't mention this about Mikoshiba, but with Wakamatsu and Seo, Nozaki uses them as inspiration for some of his manga characters.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And it kind of switches their roles a little bit. Like, he tends to do that. Like, with Mikoshiba, Mikoshiba is Nozaki's inspiration for the main female protagonist of his manga. So Mikoshiba acts like Mamiko, who is, the girl who has this crush on this guy and whatever, and is like super shy and stuff. And I think that's so funny that he uses Seo and Wakamatsu as inspiration for manga characters too. Yes,
it's so great. And especially when like a couple of the characters realize that. Like, there was this awesome moment when Hori met Mikoshiba, and he was just like, I recognize you from somewhere. And a friend of his is just like, well, he's close friends with Nozaki. Like, is that how you know him? And he's like, no, I know him from somewhere else. And he describes his qualities, and he's like, oh, holy crap, it's the main protagonist.
That's so how funny. I know this person.
It's Mamiko.
It's Mamiko. Oh, it's so funny.
So funny.
And this whole show is just like when this group of crazy characters like are doing things and interacting. Nozaki often puts those inspirations into his manga. And like their interactions and their experiences. And so again, Nozaki lives and breathes his manga work really. And so he's always taking notes and he's always like trying to figure things out. It's so funny.
Yes. Which is what frustrates Chio the most, because she's like, oh, can you just like put work aside for a moment and just like share your umbrella with me?
Yeah. Oh, it's so cute. Oh. It's so cute. Oh, the two of them.
Yes. Great characters.
Such great characters. This show is about the characters and they're all fantastic. So what's your favorite story in the show? Like, there's several little snippets, several different scenarios, I suppose. There's the manga, and I'll talk about the manga in a minute, but the manga is like very short snippets, like comedic slice of life stuff. So each anime episode hits about 2 or sometimes more of those little stories. Mm-hmm. So what's your favorite little mini arc that happens?
Yeah, I would say that my favorite mini arc was preparing Mikoshiba for the mixer. just because I love Mikoshima. Like, he's my favorite. But it was just really funny to see, like, okay, these characters of like Chiyo and Nozaki who are trying to ship, they're like terrible at dating. Like they can't like interact like on a date. Like they say all the wrong things, and it just was super cute to follow them. But I don't know, it's hard to pin it on like one arc. I more like see different moments that I'm like, oh, I love that moment, or I love that moment. So like for example, the second to last episode, all of the guys are having a sleepover at Nozaki's. And they all start like Nozaki wants some inspiration for like a girls sleepover, so they all start talking about relationships. And,
oh my gosh,
it's
so
the cutest. So I just like love moments like that.
Yes, and like the guys were all gonna just go to sleep and whatever, but Nozaki is like, no, we need to like make this a sleepover and make this more like a, a girls, night out, night, whatever. and so then they eventually start talking about all this stuff, and then Nozaki falls asleep. Like Nozaki is the one who wanted this, and all the other guys like end up being super into like discussing and gossiping and talking about girls, and then they are like, hey, what about Chiyo, Nozaki? And then Nozaki's asleep.
Yeah. Because they all see it,
great.
But Nozaki does not.
Nozaki doesn't. Oh, they're all so oblivious to
everyone's
everything.
Oblivious.
Oh, it's so brilliant. It's so brilliant. I would agree. That's like one of the best moments for sure.
Yeah, and this whole story, I just love how like over time these characters are connecting with each other, because they're all like friends with like the same person, but over time they're becoming friends with each other. I will never forget, this is another favorite moment of mine, when Mikoshiba meets Wakamatsu for the first time. and Wakamatsu's like, hi, I'm Wakamatsu, super like positive and everything. And Mikoshiba, he's just like, he seems really lame. And then Wakamatsu is just like, I play basketball. And Mikoshiba's just like, oh, even worse, he's an athlete.
Yes. Oh, man. It's so good. It's so good.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, man. It's so great.
What are some of your favorite moments or story arcs?
Well, one of my favorite episodes is the umbrella episode. So, Chiyo and Nozaki are at school. They both end up forgetting their umbrella during a rainy day. And so they're kind of stuck there for a while. And Nozaki, of course, starts thinking about how that would look in the manga. And they end up like seeing all the other characters walk by and all these things, and it's just, you get to see kind of everyone, and then at the end, Seo comes with an umbrella and is like, here, you can have mine, and then she bolts like runs out, and Nozaki ends up using that inspiration, which isn't super romantic, like in his story, like the guy like gives the girl an umbrella and runs away. It's so funny.
Yeah, that was a good one.
We already mentioned it with Kashima and Hori, but that whole segment where Kashima is just trying to interpret what Hori wants, and in reality Hori and Nozaki are just working on the manga and reading the manga and trying to figure out how to draw a background. Like,
yes.
It's so brilliant. I love all of their interactions. It's hilarious.
Yes.
This whole show is great, guys.
Yes. And it's just a lot of misinterpretation and miscommunication. Like, I mean, it's great. One of the other miscommunications, but it's a beautiful moment, is the very last scene of the whole show. When they're sitting on the playground jungle gym and they're watching the fireworks, and finally Chiyo is just like, I will always love you, like just as the fireworks have stopped. And so like she's like, oh my gosh, did Nozaki hear that? Like, then you have Nozaki like lean in really close, all romantically, like, and he's just like, I feel the same way. I like fireworks too.
Ah!
You're like,
Nozaki.
oh no.
You got it wrong again. It's wrong.
But it was like so deceiving because he's like leaning in. You're like, wow, it's going to happen. Nope.
Oh, nope. Oh, man.
That's
too
the show
good.
right there in a nutshell.
That's a summary of the show. I should say, like, I really love when we learn why Chiyo has a crush on him in the first place. During the entrance ceremony, they're both late. And so he is able to hop the fence because he's super tall. But he lifts her up, over. And then it's like all cute. And like, then, that anime, like it goes slow and she's like, ah. And
her hair's flowing in the wind.
And that's how they kind of have their first interaction. And so that's kind of her first inklings of having a crush on him. And I thought that was super sweet.
Yeah, it is super sweet because it ties back to the ending because he lifts her up again to get her on the jungle gym.
Aw,
super
they're so cute. They're so cute.
Or at the festival when he sees her in her kimono and he's just like, your ribbons are different. Are you sure you're Chiyo?
Yeah.
They're different pattern ribbons. And she's like, are you kidding me? It's me. He's like, I'm just kidding. And I love that moment because he's finally like joking around with her.
Aw, teasing her. It's
so cute. So cute. That's the show. Just misinterpretation and cuteness.
And oblivious characters.
Yes. I love it. So if you need a good laugh, this is where you need to be.
This is it, guys. It's like, I mean, there are no high stakes. It's just like a chill, fun, entertaining, comedic show that like everyone needs,
Yes.
Of the ships, like Captain Enema, do you have a favorite?
Oh, that's a hard one because they're both like they're all so different. But because like part of me wants to say Chiyo and Nozaki because like they're the main two, and you're like, right. Yes, rooting for them. But like I just love the dynamic of Hori and Kashima because they're just so funny.
They're so funny.
But I gotta be honest, I would ship Chiyo and Mikoshiba. Like
that is great.
I know it's not like one of the ships that the story lays out, but that's what I would do.
Wow, Emma.
Yeah.
Oh, going off
going
script,
against the
I love
tide.
It. Oh, man, because I didn't even think about Mikoshiba with Chiyo at all. And so now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, that would be super cute because she knows how to, play on his obliviousness and his like all he wants is a compliment kind of thing. And
like they're always like working together and like they're usually at the table together and it's usually just like, oh, Mikoshiba, seriously? Like it's like that teasing back and forth and rivalry almost, and like they're working together essentially, but they're like, I don't know, I feel like they're there for each other in a lot of different moments, and so I was like, I think that would be really cute.
I love that. And now I'm going to have to rewatch it again thinking with that in mind. If anything, they both have to deal with Nozaki's craziness together.
Yes.
Of course, like I said, Kashima and Hori are my everything, and I love them so much. So they're my vote. Although Nozaki and Chiyo are real close.
They are real close, and they're super cute. It's just that Nozaki just needs to like get out of his head.
Yes, he needs to put his manga down for 2 seconds. Like
yes. That's what I'm afraid of for Chiyo, because like she's so devoted, and he's just like, huh? And so I'm just like, I don't want her to get hurt because he's an idiot.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I think it's more of just like he might never actually like fully realize all of it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or, who knows? Who knows? We'd have to read the manga to find out.
Ooh.
Which, great transition. The manga is still running, first off. So if you like the story, you can. There's a lot of manga to read. It started in 2011 and is written and illustrated by Izumi Tsubaki. I thought this was kind of interesting. It's and I might pronounce this wrong, a yonkama manga. And that's a style of manga that is 4 panels ordered from top to bottom, usually, although it can be ordered differently. And it's popular in like a gag comedy style. And in the West, a good example is like the Peanuts comic strips are an example of that style, that like 4 panels with a gag at the end. And I read some of the manga because I wanted to know, like I wanted to see if I could, read it and find out more about Nozaki and Chio and see if they ever actually get together. But it was a little challenging to read. Like I don't read a lot of manga, but the style that it is, I think that's kind of part of it, is because anime always draws out scenes longer than the reading the mangas. Like if you read a manga, it doesn't take as long. And so the anime can really take time to like show you things. And, it's a visual medium. So it's got like, they can time things the way they want to and all of that. And I'm not saying that this manga is bad at all. Not at all. Like it's the right like style and everything. But because it's in this format, I think it's a little harder to interpret from someone who doesn't understand Japanese culture as well.
Sure.
Because I was reading it and having it translated, and like I've seen the anime, so I know what it's supposed to be and what's supposed to be funny because I've seen those scenes in the anime. But reading it, I wasn't quite grasping it as well as the anime. So unfortunately, I'm probably not going to keep reading it, but it is cool to see like this different comedic style. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting because it's a little different than what I've seen before, at least. Then of course, the anime aired in 2014. There's only 1 season, 12 episodes. They're all on Netflix in the US right now. So an easy watch for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just watched it again for this podcast, and it took me no time at all.
Yes, exactly. It's always there for us when we need a good laugh.
Definitely.
And the animation is by Doga Kobo. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, and I apologize. It's a studio I haven't heard before, and I was looking through their list of works, and I honestly don't recognize any of them. So, but there you go. That's the studio that animated it. Seems like they've done lots of slice of life comedy things. So this is just right up their alley. And I think the animation is, pretty standard animation.
It's very shojo, dramatic.
Yes. I also want to mention that the intro, the opening of this anime is like really good. I love the opening.
It's fun.
It's so fun. I love the song. It's so upbeat and happy. And I just love the craziness of what's happening in the opening. And like, it's just so fun and cool. Yeah. And like, they're all like, working on the manga, and they're all like, these crazy characters. I just love it so much.
Also, the music in general is very good. Like the soundtrack in the background, like especially like in the dramatic, emotional moments. Like I'm like, wow, this is quite beautiful.
It is for sure. I would agree.
Like that's something I'd want to play on piano.
Oh my goodness, yes. I love it when you play awesome anime music, Emma.
Thanks.
So keep at it. And if you wanted to play some Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun music, I would not be upset.
I'm still working on your name right now.
Yes. So good. So good. So there you go. Like, keeping it pretty short and sweet because, that's what this anime is. It's a quick one, and it's a lot of fun. In a little bit of the time we have left, I just want to say that this is the end of September celebration. So thank you everyone for listening to all of the episodes this month. And we will be starting our weekly episodes, going back to just Tuesdays every week, starting now. So just so you don't get disappointed when Friday rolls around and there's no new episode. By the time this episode comes out, we would also have done our live stream on YouTube where Emma will be there. I will be there. Some other frequent guests will be there. And that will be still on YouTube. So search Fanimated on YouTube and we'll be there to, you can rewatch that. I might turn it into a podcast episode. Who knows? And I'm sure that was really fun.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. So yeah, I think that's about all I have. I know it's only September, but I'm looking at, we don't have that many more episodes left to go this year.
I know, it's crazy.
It's crazy. And reminder, as always, that if you want to have a say in those episodes, what we're talking about, you can go to patreon.com/fanimated and you can vote for upcoming episode topics, hear bonus content. There's a lot of conversation that I do not put in the podcast episodes, and I upload that just for patrons on Patreon. You can get a sticker. You can recommend a topic that we should talk about. All those things are available to patrons starting at just $1 a month. Okay, well, I think that about wraps it up. So thank you so much, Emma, for joining me today, for recommending this show to me. Man, it's right up my alley. It's like this show has Emma written all over it. It's so great. Oh my goodness.
Thanks. Yeah, no, you are welcome. It's a good ride. It's fun. It's literally makes you laugh. So I hope you enjoy it, listeners.
Yes, go enjoy it. Let us know what you thought of it. And we'll talk with you again soon, Emma.
Yeah. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Remember that you can join the Fanimated crew and vote for upcoming episode topics by going to patreon.com/fanimated. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Fanimated Podcast to stay up to date with all things animated, and don't forget to leave a rating and review telling us what you'd like us to watch next. The music is provided by Purple Planet Music and the art is done by myself. You can find me on Instagram at Candor Draw. Thank you to Emma for geeking out with me today, and we'll be back next week, Tuesday, with another Watcha Watchin' episode. So in the meantime, stay tuned and stay animated. All right.
And recording.
We are a go for liftoff.
Sure.
Sure.
2, 1.